All right, so I got some interesting ideas for you when it comes to humility. Whether or not you're a Christian man, it should still apply to you. It's still useful for you in your life to be humble to the things that you're dealing with, right? Whether or not you're a follower of Christ or you're just a person trying to learn things. I think this episode, these types of concepts, ideas will be good for you to kind of maybe cleanse your mind a little bit from a lot of the garbage that's online and also help yourself move forward a little bit in a better way in your life, right? In some regard. So I have some ideas when it comes to humility, when it comes to the importance of it. So I hope you enjoy it today. It's not going to be a very long episode, but it's still going to be something very useful for you. So hopefully you do enjoy it. I'm trying to, of course, provide some value, make something useful. I hope you learn something important in your life that you'll take. If you do, let me know by showing your support on this episode and on this show. Right, I make an episode of this podcast every day for a whole year, and we're approaching the back end of it. So I hope you enjoy it. So when it comes to humility, right? What humility is not, and there's maybe some common misconceptions, right? What humility is not, it's self-shame, it's self-deprecation, is hating yourself, being hard on yourself and harsh on yourself for things. That's not humility. That's just self-deprecation, right? They're completely different feelings. They're completely different things. Humility is understanding that you're not good enough. And of course, from the religious perspective, from the Christian perspective, it's understanding that you're not good enough, that you fall into temptation, that you make mistakes, and that's okay, right? Shame and self-deprecation is you fall into the mistakes and then you hate yourself for it, and then that just spirals out of control into depression and anxiety and all sorts of things, and just self-hatred. That's not humility. That's not a healthy feeling to be feeling, right? What humility is, it's the opposite of pride, right? It's the opposite of arrogance. It's to say that it is okay, but that you are not God, that you are not the best, right? You are just a human, and you're trying to make it in this world, and you fall short, and that's okay, right? Being humble to that fact will kind of help you learn from your mistakes, right? Self-deprecation is maybe you wallow and you lament in your mistakes a little bit instead of actually using that as energy to move forward in a better way. And pride and arrogance is making the mistake and not even realizing that it's a mistake, or even not even recognizing it as wrong, right? Or something like that, right? Humility is like you're in between, right? Your arrogance is one side of the spectrum, the self-deprecation is the other side of the spectrum when it comes to like just personal self-esteem. And humility is somewhere in the middle, where it's literally like you're not thinking of yourself as higher than you ought to, but at the same time you're not thinking of yourself as low as you ought to. You should be thinking of yourself somewhere in the middle, right? You should understand that yes, there's a part for you to play, that there's definitely a part that you should be striving, you should be going and doing things, but you should never be arrogant. You should never you don't want to be that type of guy that's like cocky, that's always that's always kind of talking in this brash type of way that no one really likes. No one really likes those people anyway, but also that's just not a good quality, right? For people that are prideful, for people that are arrogant, it'll be a great fall, because they'll realize that the standards that they set are actually were completely unrealistic. We're just their egos, and their egos will take a hit. And when their egos take a hit, you will see it in anger, you will see it in jealousy, you will see it in a lot of bad emotions kind of being shown and being sent to the forefront because their egos were destroyed. What humility is you don't have an ego. You don't have an ego. You understand that you have standards. Sure, you can have standards for how you want to live your life and personal values that you live your life by, but you understand that you're not going to be perfect with it absolutely all the time. And in anything that you do, that you will fall short, and that is okay. You're going to keep moving. And that you know that there are other people that are better than you at things, but that's okay. You have your own pathway, you have your own plan, so you keep on moving, right? You're not going to sit there in shame, but you're not going to sit there thinking that you're better than people, right? You're just going to keep on moving, right? You're going to be humble to the fact that yes, like you will make mistakes and you will fail at times, and like that's okay, right? That's absolutely okay in life. And in terms of what God wants from us, it's like you're humble to the fact that you are not God. There are many things in your life that you cannot control, and you must focus on controlling the things that you can control. Which there's not a lot of things, but there's definitely a few things that you can control for sure. That's what humility is. It's recognizing who your God is. It's recognizing that there is someone or something affecting you in a way that you can't control, and like that's okay, right? We as humans, we want to have control, right? We want to kind of be in control of our own destiny, but sometimes you're not in control of that. So if you can be humble, Humility is a great virtue. It's a great value to have because, first of all, you're not setting such unrealistic expectations for yourself, and also you're not going to be disappointed by those expectations, right? There's going to be a lot less disappointment and a lot less misery and depression when it comes to when you're a humble person, because if you're humble, you maybe have a more realistic set of standards for yourself that maybe you actually have a better chance of reaching, rather than trying to punch so far above your weight because of your ego, because of your pride. Humility is to say it's okay if I'm not at the level of this guy, right? It's like you're comparing yourself to someone and you're saying, instead of you saying, "Oh, I have to be like that," and then you kind of just keep punching above your weight or keep trying to and then maybe falling short. Being humble is to say, "Okay, I'm not at this guy's level, and that's okay. I'm going to keep improving at my own pace. I'm going to keep improving to the standards that I've set for myself, but we're not going to set standards so unreasonably high." Humility allows you to kind of gauge what is too high, what's too far, or maybe what's even too low, right? To be humble is to have that middle ground, right? And to be humble is to give it up to God, truly. To recognize that you're not the only one running this thing, and that there is a God out there. That is also a true act of humility. That's like the ultimate act of humility. That's the godly act of humility. But that's really the case with humility. A lot of people, they're humble. Like, they're humble people probably on the surface, but actually internally, they go too far, right? Like, you can tell based on a person's demeanor whether they're arrogant or whether they like, they think highly of themselves, right? And those people are not really good to be around, versus the person that is humble, that recognizes that they do fall short, right? You can kind of see that based on people's demeanors, right? But what maybe you don't see as much is that kind of internal self-deprecation, that internal negative self-talk where they're just basically like just falling deeper and deeper into their temptations, into their sins, into their depression, right? You feel, you make a mistake, you fall into temptation, and you just let that sit with you too much, right? Rather than just recognizing that, yes, your God, Jesus Christ, has saved you from those exact sins, and that's okay. Be humble to the fact that you fell short. Be humble to the fact that you fell short of those values, right? And keep trying to do better, right? So there are people that they take it too far, right? And maybe they think that being humble is you have to beat yourself up all the time. But you should give yourself a little bit of grace, right? Humility allows you to give yourself a little bit of grace, but not taking it too far where you think you're better than everyone else, right? It's not a good feeling to have. It is not a feeling that's going to benefit you. You will be humbled eventually. So might as well start from the position of a more reasonable, realistic perspective, right? Rather than being prideful, being arrogant, and then being humbled, being brought down a few pegs, which is an inevitable thing that will happen in all situations in life, in careers, in relationships, in sports, in all sorts of things. If you think of yourself as higher than you ought to, you will be humbled at some point, right? And it's that simple. It is absolutely that simple when it comes to the virtue of humility. Recognizing that there are people that are better than you, there is a God out there that is affecting things that you can't control, and that's okay. You have the things you can control, and you have to keep on striving to do better, and that's absolutely all right. Humility allows you to do many good things in this life, and to be the good, and to be the light in the world, rather than kind of, if you're like, no one really wants to be around that arrogant person, right? It leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. The person that is humble, the person that respects others, it's very much a better person to be around. So you want to be that person, right? You don't want to be the person that no one really likes. At the same time, you don't want to be the person that goes against God as well, right? So you have to balance these things, right? Humility is also linked hand in hand with respect, right? If you are an arrogant person, you probably lack respect for people that you consider lower than you, right? You probably lack respect, right? You probably think of other people as weak and you think of yourself as strong. Like, that is like the prideful, egotistical, arrogant perspective at times if you're that far into it, right? The humble perspective is to recognize that everyone deserves respect, that everyone is equal under the eyes of God, and everyone is deserving of your love and respect, right? That's great. Like, that's a very good, noble quality to have in your life. And of course, that's good in the sight of God, and it is good in other people's eyes as well. You will definitely be a person that a lot of people will want to hang around, right? It's good. It's a great thing. It's only beneficial for you to be a humble person, right? And it's that simple. I'm wearing the Argentina shirt, and unfortunately yesterday I definitely went a little bit too far on some of the perspectives when it came to the games that Argentina played in and some of the decisions. So that was me not really being humble, right? Not really being humble, right? So I also have to work on at times to be humble and find that balance, right? It's never perfect, right? Sometimes I'm a little bit prideful. Sometimes I definitely fall into that self-deprecation side. And like, I understand that that's okay, right? I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that Jesus Christ does save me from my sins and from my faults, as long as I continue to strive to do better, which I'm trying to do, right? So when it comes to humility, in that aspect, I need to be a little bit better. I need to be a little bit better. But humility is a very good quality to have. And I just decided to talk about it in today's episode because it is just something that is important on my mind, because obviously of what happened yesterday, and also of course, just because that's maybe one of the most noble things you can have is humility, to be humble to all of these things, right? To all of these things. So that's all I gotta say for humility. It's that's the framework behind humility. You can think of it as like a spectrum, right? You think of it as a spectrum, right? You can think of like maybe the far side, right? The egotistical guy, the guy who thinks of himself as higher than he ought to, right? The guy that is spoiled, right? I've met a lot of people like that in my life, right? And then the complete other side, which is the guy that's maybe in his shell, shy, hates himself, right? Doesn't have good self-esteem, right? That's also not good, right? It's also not good. And I've met a few people like that as well. But I feel like I've actually probably met more people on the arrogant side than on the kind of hidden side, because that stuff's kept hidden, right? That's the point. You know what you truly think of yourself. You should have some good positive self-talk. You should have some good confidence in yourself. But humility to the fact that you're not like the greatest person that's ever existed, right? Like that type of an idea, right? That's the type of thing I'm trying to talk about, right? So it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum between pride, humility in the middle, and then self-deprecating type of things. So you want to try and find that balance in the middle. It's going to be tough, because whenever you're trying to find the balance, you'll fall short on both sides, right? And that's okay. That's okay. Pray on those things. Always give it up to God before you do anything else, right? And let humility be the emotion that you focus on and the virtue you focus on above all else. Because I think would I go as far to say that there's nothing else better than humility? I would probably say that. I would say that there is no better emotion, no better virtue to have than pure humility in life. So continue to strive, continue to do better, continue to pursue that humility, continue to recognize places where you need to be humble, and that will allow you to improve in so many other amazing ways in your life. It'll allow God's love to pour out to you in many amazing ways that you might not have even realized possible. So thank you for watching. That's all I gotta say for today. That's my message to you, just to try and be humble to things. And you don't want to be the person on either end, because it's not beneficial to you. The best place for you to be is humble, and that's it, right? That is absolutely all I gotta say. So thank you for watching. That's all I got. So like the video, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify if you enjoyed this episode. Continue to glorify God every day throughout your life. Watch some of the other great content that I've posted on this show as well. You can watch the episode I made yesterday about the World Cup, which I've hinted at that maybe I said some controversial things. I said some things that maybe weren't so humble, and that's why humility is on the forefront of my mind right now. So that's why I just wanted to talk about it a little bit today. So thank you for watching this episode. As always, I will see you tomorrow for the next one.